Welcome to the Aisha I Am Woman show where needed conversations happen. I am your host, Aisha, and I am so delighted. I am so excited that you have joined me this evening. This is the place where we meet every Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, and 4:30 Pacific Time, right here on Mega Source Entertainment. The Aisha I Am Woman show aims to enlighten women to know that they have a place in this world, to equip women and to empower women. We equip women with resources for behavioral and emotional health. That is our goal. And we have a special focus on the effects of childhood trauma on adult behavior. And so every Sunday we meet right here at 6:30 to talk about all things pertaining to women and young girls, because I truly believe that if we do what we need to do to thwart the things that women and girls could face in their adulthood, little girls can face in their adulthood, we would be well on our way to creating a beautiful society. Because I have speak to this from a very personal perspective, because of the trauma and the tragedies that I experienced in my own childhood. I later recognized that those things had a profound impact on the way I made decisions, as an adult. And so I had to go on a journey of healing and self-discovery. And I went to God's word to find who I am. I went to Genesis. I started in Genesis chapter 2, verse 23, and I found Aisha. Literally, I found myself. I found myself in God's word, and Aisha means woman. And I began to write out my focus and who I am as a woman. And that woman, I realized as an adult, when I started to realize that, I was a broken woman who needed to be healed. And so I went on this journey of self-discovery, and I started to write. And I started to write out my pains and disappointments and things where I've made errors and things. And then I had to go back to the root cause of where I began and where the hurt came from. And I realized that I had unhealed childhood wounds, and those wounds led me to this place of healing, to know that I needed to be healed. And so today we are focusing on something that is very critical in our journey as we go on this journey of healing, self-discovery, opening up ourselves. And today we're talking about diet and depression. And I have a question for you. Now, this is maybe a rhetorical question or a critical thinking question that I have asked. Can you eat your way out of depression? Okay, and I have a very, very special guest with me who's going to be talking with me and us tonight. That's Ms. Nakia Stokes, who is a licensed dietitian and certified meal planner. Nakia is an Army veteran from Cincinnati, and she fell in love with mental and physical benefits of fitness after completing boot camp. In 2003, Nakia moved to Dallas, Texas, and she began her quest as a personal trainer. When training clients on exercise programs and meals, she noticed that some of the people had more trouble losing weight than others. This propelled her to enroll into dietics, and she began to gain deeper knowledge about food and how the body processes what we eat. Nakia was selected by Channel 5 News to present healthy Thanksgiving meals, and I remember that, and I was a part of it. She is now a certified in nutrition and weight loss management, along with child and senior meal planning. Nakia's approach to eating healthy and working out is targeted on each client's individual needs. This involves considering the family history, medical conditions, diagnoses, medications, blood work, and detecting food allergies. More importantly, Nakia loves to educate everyone that needs their own education on their own diet blueprint. And that can only be addressed from the inside out. Nakia, welcome to the Aisha I Am Woman show. Miss Nakia, thank you so much. We want to unmute you, Miss Nakia, and we're going to bring you in. Let's unmute you. Can we hear you? You got to unmute yourself on Zoom. There we go. There we go. I can hear you now.
Thank you so much for having me back on your platform on Megasource Entertainment. I absolutely love that this is a platform that addresses so many needs that need to be talked about. And with so much going on, it's awesome. It's like a breath of fresh air to be able to get on here, here's some things that people have challenges with, and possibly get people to talk about them and give them some help. So Aisha, I want to thank you so much. Thank you for your transparency.
Yeah.
You have really inspired my life, I'm sure amongst many others, and Rich and everybody who just at the Mega Source Entertainment, who puts up this platform. It's a lot of work to come down to do, what Aisha and their team does. So much respect given to them. Um, Health for me, I kind of looked at it different. Growing up in the 70s, I was skinny. So now where we have the females who are growing up now who are already looking like young women, I had the other problem, and I think you did too,
Yeah, I
Aisha.
did.
There weren't size zero clothing. There was not a lot for us. And so my idea of my body was horrible. So I went to this mega eat to put weight on my body. And because it wasn't a time I could go around somebody who would say, "Oh my God, you're just like a bone, you're a toothpick." And so in my mind, I started developing, I'm a toothpick. And no matter how much I ate, I did not gain weight.
Mm.
And in my mind, that was a trauma.
Wow.
It really was.
Mhm.
And it was so much of a trauma. I had two brothers. I don't have any sisters. It's my mom. She's a single mom.
Mhm.
And so I began hiding food. I
Wow.
did.
Mhm.
Yeah, I started putting food under the bed because they eat faster. They're boys,
Mhm.
they're in football. And, I'm a girl, I'm doing homework, I'm doing girly things, and, I just want to go and sit down and eat. So it would be nothing left.
Mm.
And so what I began doing is I started hiding food
Wow.
underneath my bed so that I could have something to eat. So that in and of itself is a trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
would think a child would have to hide their food?
Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
so
Wow. Wow. Wow.
mhm.
So when we talk about the emotional effects of how childhood trauma and all that affects adult behavior, that's really one of my biggest focuses. And we want to talk about that from a dietary perspective. Like you said, you hid food. My goodness. And like you said, it is a trauma to yourself. So when as we grow up and we develop in our years, how do emotions affect how our dietary well-being? How do our emotions affect how we eat?
Yeah, and that unfortunately was just um a piece of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Also, when it comes to dietary choices as a child,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things I love to tell people, children are learning as soon as they are growing in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
So their nutritional aspects, their environment is all very, contained. And what mom puts in there is what baby is eating. And what a baby is experiencing is what mom, her hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we bring it up to the real world. They're supposed to have milk. These are all things that are now creating an environment.
Okay.
So when the baby cries, do they eat? Oh, does the baby cry every time and get to eat? Or is mom teaching them, other things to do besides eat?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go ahead and fast forward up to their toddler years. Oh my gosh, it's birthday parties, it's celebrations. So what do we have? We have food.
Mm-hmm.
So, the environment as well as the food now starts to form in this child's mind. Now, they're a child. They do not have full cognizant brain to tell what's good, bad, or if it's such a word. And so they eat and they eat and it's good and there's this good feeling,
Mm-hmm.
pleasure with it. Or it could be completely the opposite. It could be trauma and you're not getting but a little bit of food. Or you better eat all of your food off your plate.
Wow.
And
Mm-hmm.
so then these different type of atmospheres and pressures put on children, they are starting to develop now how they're going to eat. Oh, mom, are we going to stop at McDonald's? Oh, mom, are we going to stop here and get something to eat? Completely forming how they'll look at food, how they'll choose food, and how they even maybe think or not think about food,
No. Hmm.
because food is meant to be fuel. It's meant to go in. It's meant to perform different. It's meant to perform different areas in our body to help us heal,
Hmm.
to help us think better, to help us, to help our bodies heal. And we want the best to go in there. We don't want just any atmosphere and any foods going into our tanks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So now, as we develop those dietary habits, because that sounds like they are habits, is that we, whatever we want to do, whatever when we're celebrating, we want to eat, we want to sit down and eat, or even when we go out on a date. It's interesting, even as we become adults and stuff, and we go about this life, and we do different things. Now, the first thing we want to do, we want to go out and we want to have a meal. If we say we want to go out, we want to go on a date. Now, what I found interesting is a person that will say, well, we're not going to go out on a date. We're going to go hiking on the first time I meet you, or we're going to go walking or whatever. To me, that's an impressive thing, because it says, okay, we don't need to necessarily sit down and eat all the time. Let us do something else. Let us develop a different way to relate to each other, because when we take food and everything, sometimes we just relate over a meal, and that relationship that we have with food and company too becomes healthy or becomes destructive. That's what I think, right? It
That's it.
seems to.
That's exactly the perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, and I think it's getting better now,
Mm-hmm.
but coming from where I was told you, I had to fight for meals. So when
Mm-hmm.
somebody wanted to take me out to eat, I was like, yes.
Right.
Not realizing I'm just, well, y'all cooking? Yes.
Yeah.
Just this desperation of, oh, I'm gonna get food and I'm not gonna have a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, my mom's like, why don't you slow down eating? Well, if I don't eat fast enough, I won't get it. So yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And it was, oh my gosh, such and such got into school. Oh, well, let's have a party for her. Or
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
such and such got out of jail. Oh, let's have a party for him. I mean, it was just food
Mm-hmm.
associated with every event.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good food. It was not healthy food, I should
Right.
say.
Yeah.
It was constantly the choices that doesn't do our bodies good when eaten on a regular basis.
Yeah. 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 So as we grow up and we have these moments in time, and how we relate to each other, it's like taking those childhood habits, bringing them into adulthood, and reshaping them, putting them into a different mold. And so, as you are passionate about wholeness and the health of children and women from the inside out, so what drives that passion within you? What is your, like, the history that makes you so passionate about that?
Yeah, and that's really my niche, if
Hmm.
you will.
Okay.
I know everyone wants the six pack abs and the beautiful body, and the derriere is now getting bigger,
Yeah.
and I understand all of that. I like to take an inside out approach because unfortunately, we don't get to see our liver and our lungs and our heart and our pancreas and all of the things that are doing an impeccable job to keep our bodies running. And you can go, and when you get your physical and they do those blood work and blood panels, they tell you what that looks like,
Mm.
because but for that, we can't see it. And so I like to tell people, and most people who come to me, it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm insulin resistant. I'm already taking metformin. My blood pressure is high. My cholesterol is so high. Your pancreas is responsible for your insulin.
Hmm.
And so all of these things, if we start attacking them with food, then we can get that back together. Even something as simple as if you think your mind is just like, oh my gosh, I can't, you could just be lacking vitamin D, which
Hmm.
is very common in African American people.
Okay.
So, doctors want to treat what you tell them. Okay.
Hmm.
If you go to them enough time, more than likely they'll say, let's get to the root of this. But if you're seeing these different symptoms, or you feel lightheaded, or things hurt that shouldn't hurt, that could be more than likely nutrition related.
Mm.
You need vitamin D, you need vitamin C. You can get scurvy without vitamin C.
Wow.
If you don't have enough iodine in your and Americans shouldn't have this problem in your diet. If you don't have iodine, you can get a goiter. And that's just iodine is in salt, and you can look this up. You'll get this massive chunk under here.
Hmm.
So, of course, and if you don't get enough calcium, you'll get osteoporosis. So these are very real inside health habits that we need to pay attention to. And once addressed, you will get the benefits of the external, what everybody wants. You will
Yeah.
get those benefits as well.
So, what are some resources? Like, how can we find information about this? Like, of course, you go to the library. I'm sure is a resource that you can go to. But you talk about how to get the information from about how to address these things. Where can we go to get the resources to find that information?
And yeah, and so here's the cool part. Just like a doctor or a psychologist or something,
Hmm.
a dietetic technician, which is what I am, we go to school, we study, and then there are dietitians. And our job is not to put people on diets. We
Hmm.
really like to shun away from the word diet as it has been portrayed in the regular industry. Okay. When we take on the word diet, we're taking it on because I'm saying, oh my gosh, this is Nakia. She has high blood pressure. She has cognitive issues. Her leg hurts. So I'm going to look at everything that you tell me, and I'm going to go on a journey with you to remedy that.
Okay.
You may not be fat, you may just have inflammation.
Mm.
You may have a food allergy that you don't know about. Everything that is good because it says a banana or
Hmm.
grows out of the ground or organic, it doesn't mean that it won't interact with your body.
Hmm.
And autoimmune diseases are on the rise like never before. I don't remember 70s and before that, so many prevalent
Hmm.
autistic and autoimmune and so many challenges that we're facing with our body.
Hmm.
And that came with supply and demand. We started having to, really increase what we could eat here because more people came.
Mm.
And so then you notice now, you've got bipolar, you've got so many different health ailments. And I personally, I'm not a doctor, but I personally doing my own research, and you ask that's what where do you go for research? I research science-based, science-proven
Hmm.
um, on my website through my school.
Okay.
So that's where I go to get my website. There's a lot of information online. And believe it or not, a lot of it is right,
Hmm.
but it may not be right for you.
Oh, wow. 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 Hmm.
But it may not be right for you.
Yeah.
And what I eat and what you eat may be completely different.
Right.
I know a person that ate two honey buns a day and never gained a
Mm.
pound.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Now, see that's so very interesting. Where you say that is what you do, dietetics. You're a dietitian, and so you teach people and you help them to find the things that work best for them. You work alongside the doctor. You work alongside their professional healthcare provider that's in their
Mhm.
life to help them to find and eat. And what it sounds like, it is maybe possible. It may just be possible if we do it naturally. We can't eat our way out of depression. Is that even possible? Is that possible?
Well, well, yeah, and just a hint on depression.
Mm-hmm.
So depression, anxiety, any of the other ailments we have, maybe bipolar, autism, those are all those are all diagnoses where you are going to have some chemical imbalances.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're talking depression, anxiety, and all of that, we all know depression. Oh, just tired.
Yeah.
Anxiety. ADHD. I was gonna finish this. I went in there and so you have to start
Mm-hmm.
understanding, first of all, which one of those or how many of those categories you fit in.
Yeah. Yeah.
when you do that, hormones release, okay?
Hmm.
Some hormones make you go, I don't want to eat. I ain't trying to eat. I'm depressed. I'm laying there. I don't want to eat. Anxiety, you might be eating everything. Give me them bag of chips, give me, I want a cup of coffee, So right then, you're not making sound
Hmm.
judgmental decisions.
Hmm.
So if you're depressed, it's going to deplete you. It's going to give you an imbalance. It's going to
Hmm.
give you a chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
So, and you're not going to want to eat.
Yeah.
I was depressed.
Yeah.
I was depressed. I went through several crises.
Okay.
And so, with that, what I did was I did not want to eat.
Yeah.
So, I made
Here's
myself
some.
a smoothie.
You shared some photos with me. You mind if I share them?
No, I don't mind, not at all.
Absolutely. This is
I,
something.
I would just, I sometimes a friend would come over and they just make me this smoothie because I needed the vitamins and minerals just
Yeah.
to, just so I wouldn't get worse.
Yeah.
You don't always feel like it. You can eat, I don't want to say out of depression, but
Hmm.
you can eat to feel better during that time.
Okay.
And that will facilitate you being better and coming out of your depression.
Hmm.
Because I'm sure you'll need to talk to someone and get some counseling. And if you're anxious, you can get calming foods like chamomile tea and, um, I have so much scientific wording, so I'm trying to make sure I, bring it down to where everyone can understand. But if you have anxiety, you can have calming foods. If you're depressed, you can get really good vibrant foods. Vitamin B,
Hmm.
vitamin B makes you have a little bit more energy. You want iron foods like maybe, greens and things like those. So what it is once you're in your, and if you consult with me and we talk about where you are, even if your joints hurt,
Yeah.
I have, food meal planning that addresses that. So you consult with me, we talk about it. If you're depressed, fine. I don't even need to know why you're depressed because I understand what depression is.
Hmm.
But I can tell you, hey, put this in your body. If you're extra anxious, put this in your body. If you have lupus, if you have cognitive issues,
Hmm.
whatever they may be.
Hmm. So we can eat in a way that um, helps us to curb some of the side effects of depression because I tell people all the time, I face with both anxiety and depression. So I'm like, okay, which one of these am I dealing with right now? Which one of these and what do I do to help to myself to feel better or calm down or whatever? Or yeah, I went into this room and I was going to go do this, and what was that I was going to go do? I don't know. I don't remember. So, I'm grateful for, the information and knowing that it's even possible to, coupled with our own therapists and our own clinicians and stuff, that we can couple our diet and put it with learning how to feel better, eating foods that help us to do that because the vitamins and the nutrients within the foods, we may be just be lacking those things. And so, if we fill ourselves up with those things, that we can actually feel better. We can actually turn the tables. So,
Yeah, it's a direct correlation, Aisha. I know you drink coffee, right?
yeah, I do.
So when you drink that cup of coffee,
Mm-hmm.
it's a stimulant,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think the same thing about foods,
Yeah.
They're going in your body and they're doing whatever job you put in. If it's an Oreo cookie,
Mm-hmm.
it's some scrambled eggs.
Mm.
They're going to do two completely different things.
Yeah.
And most people's mishaps is they're doing the same thing. They are not. If
Oh.
I eat three Oreo
Mm-hmm.
cookies and I eat three crackers, they're going to do something completely different when they enter in, you know, our esophagus
Mm-hmm.
down to our stomach, processing that all out from our liver, detoxifying whatever it is in there. Sugar is not needed in our body. You just don't need sugar. So
Mm-hmm.
your liver has to take care of that. And then your
Mm-hmm.
insulin has to respond to that. And then your kidneys got to get ready to filter that. So I mean, when I think about stuff like that, I'm like, that's a lot of work that's going on in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is true. That is true. And it sounds like the foods that we put into our body, they have to work to compensate, what they are naturally supposed to, what the body's naturally supposed to do. And so the extra work that needs to be put in is kind of maybe even leads us to be that, feel the depression, the things that we feel emotionally. You know, it's extra work that the body's having to do to compensate for what we just put in it.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, that is such good
You're right
information.
on there. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that's really good. That don't make your body work extra. You know,
Well,
that is so good. So I mean, as you know, like if you could give us like three practical things that people can actually apply in their life, like on a daily basis. That's some, something that may not require, going to see a doctor right now, but anything that's you just common that we can do on a daily basis, just as a reminder. Three practical things
are we talking in terms of eating or
of
just
eating.
daily things when depression,
Eating,
uh,
as it relates to eating and how
eating?
we, can curve.
So
Yeah.
I like to let everyone know you need 1,300 calories a day just sit,
Mm.
go to the bathroom, lay down, watch TV. It's just mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then when you want to start talking about calories, they're going to go off your weight, your height, and your age. And that starts to get even more synchronized with, do you sit at home? Do you work from home? Do you do a lot of work?
Mm-hmm.
And then you start messing around with your calories.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're in depression, you're not thinking about any of that. So you want to just make sure you get 1,300 calories per day. And that could be oatmeal. Depression, you don't want to chew. You don't want chicken usually. I don't know. I when I'm depressed, I just don't want to eat.
Right.
When
Okay.
I'm happy and anxious, I'm gonna eat everything.
Yeah.
So if you're depressed and you want to eat, if you do prefer to eat, please choose things that'll help with the vitamins and minerals so you'll feel better.
Okay.
So being depressed, don't get the what you want, which is a cheeseburger and some French fries and a Coca-Cola. And it tastes good because it make you feel good. It stimulates that hormone that's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that slice of pizza, those wings, whatever it is.
Lemon pepper.
Oh, I don't even want to take them away. Get you two wings, but get you a side salad because I want you to get some vitamins and minerals in there, you know.
Okay.
And then if you're not on the I don't want to eat, it just maybe a smoothie, soup,
Mm-hmm.
something nourishing, some calories. You're just doing calories. Vice versa, if it's anxiety, still don't do a lot of caffeine,
Mm-hmm.
ginseng.
Mm-hmm.
You want to just do calming foods, get some fruits and vegetables, just use the God-given tools that He's given us. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, think about foods. They are so good in so many ways.
Yes. Yeah.
They are healing. They contain in them what we need to do our jobs.
Yeah.
So use that in that way as fuel versus, oh my God, this is gonna make me feel so much better. Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna put my shoes on and I'm gonna eat this ice cream sundae and I'm gonna watch my favorite show. And it
Mm-hmm.
does feel really good. And I encourage those days, but I go by 80/20 rule. So 80% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna need to be some almond milk ice cream.
Yeah, that takes great discipline to be able to do that and make your
Exactly.
body change. We just went through the whole 30 with the radio station. That was something. It was difficult at first. We went through withdrawals of not having sugar and taking away the dairy and all that stuff in the beginning. But once I got on the roll of having it, I was like, man, I really don't need sugar. And I started to find supplements that I could put in, when I want to drink a soda or a Coke or something. I found the better drink at Walmart that had no sugar in it, a lot of vitamins in it, but it was sweet, but it had the label read no sugar. It was delicious. And so, yeah, it was a certain drink that I found, and I could only find it at Walmart. I couldn't find it anywhere else. But those things were very helpful. I'm still continuing to do that, reducing my sugar intake and stuff because, as to address the anxiety part within my own life, I realized, I don't need all of that. Like you just said, you don't need sugar in your body. That's a revelation to me. Of course, you don't need it, but that's like, wow. Okay, how can we change and shift this and make a new discipline? Because that's what it sounds like. We have to create a new discipline. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to also tell everybody thank you for joining us tonight here on the Aisha I Am Woman Show. I give a shout out to Miss Petra and Ebony and Lynn and Miss Wendy Pooh. I see you guys there on YouTube, and the Foot Chick, I see you there. Thank you so much for joining us. Miss Evelyn and Miss Lena and Rich and Ronnie, Veronica, thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. I thank Miss Nakia for all of this information that she's given us. And I mean, this is enriching, it's empowering, and it's helping us to combat those things, those emotions and stuff. And I'm just overjoyed to get this information and be able to practically apply it, because that is the thing. I want to make sure that we are addressing the things that happen in the past in us and help us to change our life. You know what I mean? Change the direction and that we have been going. Realize and address everything within our life that we need to address, and get on a path of feeling better on a daily basis. Because sometimes we're just fatigued and we're tired, and that's something we have to just deal with and come through and address. And I think a healthy eating is a way that we can address it. So thank you so much for these practical things. And so as we couple the things that we deal with when in our life and how we eat and all that, so I always try to put faith in whatever we do, right? And how do you couple your faith in your walk with God, and just putting all of what you're doing as far as the dietary aspect? How do you say, as a person who says they want to let their body be used for God's glory, how do you put all that into your faith? What are some disciplines that you had to enact even with your faith?
Yeah, that's really good. 1997 over in Korea is when I accepted the Lord Jesus Christ, and I really did not, originally wasn't on the nutrition path as I am now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just speed it up into the 2000s when I really saw, after having kids, and when you're small, you like small, you can eat everything. But then when you find the challenge, like your hips then moved, and some other things have happened after you had kids, I was just like, okay. And then I was told at 30 that I had high cholesterol. So it really sparked that interest. And looking at the women in my family and seeing, as they got older, the health was declining. It's just not the weight, the health was declining. So as far as faith came, I was in a church. I believe I met you there.
Yes.
And we did life groups, and I had the largest life group for just showing people about their health and their fitness. I did a contest for those participants called The Biggest Winner.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really neat. I just wanted to make people aware about these are our temples and what we put in them, because a lot of us want, we want to throw our church gear on, our makeup, we look good, and then you got diabetes or your heart problems, or you're suffering, or your parents even.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to really bring awareness to that in the faith, because it's such a massive audience. I did a conference there as well to speak about, hey, look at this gigantic basket of oranges, and it has less calories than this one piece of chicken. So it was just, for them to see that, it was just like, oh my goodness. Also in faith, I start understanding fasting. And so I incorporated that into my meals, because it gave me a moment of clarity, and to really think about what I wanted to think about.
Wow.
And fasting also is very much something that I practice now. It is both for faith and for my metabolism, being that I'm 50 years old.
Okay.
So it has been phenomenal. The other thing with faith, is most of my friends I have met through the faith.
Yes.
And so it has been amazing. It has been a benefit. I think I was asked what was the challenges. The challenges were probably challenges that I would face whether I was in faith or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even like to give that any, I don't even like to give that any steam. The benefits have been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And to, meditate. I meditate. I talk to the Lord. I'm not asking him to take my food or anything away. I'm asking him for many ideas, or how can I reach somebody else who wants to take control of their health
Wow.
from the inside out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Mhm.
yeah, we as we couple all of that stuff, all of what we you've said, and be able to apply it, I think can become a whole, true woman. Becoming whole and true to ourselves. Now, thank you so much again for sharing all of this great information, Miss Nakia. So, are you available for people to contact you or reach you and get some more information about what you do as far as being a dietitian, and how can people do that?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I got some clients already. I am on TikTok at
Mm-hmm.
Fitness Scorpion,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a A, not a O. I will change it, but it is Fitness underscore Scorpion. I am also on Facebook as Nakia Middlebrook Stokes. I'm on Instagram,
Yes.
and you can reach me at trulyreal@gmail.com. That's TRULIREAL@gmail.com.
Okay.
I'll give you a 15-minute consultation. And just basically, I'm just going to listen to you tell me what you have got going on. And I'll let you know what I could provide for you if you're interested. I've got a really good special now because I'm going to launch in January.
Mm-hmm.
So, right now, the people I'm taking, I'm literally giving a 50% discount now.
Mm-hmm.
I love to tell people start right now.
Yeah.
Aisha
Mm-hmm.
Miller told me 2 months ago to just start. So now I tell people just start right now.
That's right.
No,
Start.
don't wait till the first of the month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to take anything away from you. I'm going to show you how to have it, and I'm going to show you how to have it better.
Yeah.
And you're going to look great.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to feel amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to take some control back of your life. You'll come off pills that treat symptoms because you'll get to the root.
Oh, wow. Okay. I love it. And so again, we want to just give you information. Is fitness underscore scorpion or fitness scorpion?
Fitness underscore Scorpion with an
Fitness.
A.
Okay, I have to re-put that. I will correct that in our chat room on Megasource Entertainment. I want to give a shout out to everybody who's over there on the channel. And I'm just so grateful for the time that they've taken to share with us and be with us this evening. We will get your information out to anybody who needs it and wants to, get in contact with you. And again, is there a phone number or email you want to provide?
I did provide my
Okay, just
email.
okay.
It's TRULIREAL
Yes.
at
Okay. Okay.
gmail.com.
Trulyreal@gmail.com. On Facebook, Nikhil Middlebrook Stokes. And then
Mhm.
on TikTok, fitness underscore scorpion with an A. Okay. And so
Yeah.
don't, check out her workout videos, check out, things that she's showing you about how to eat healthily. And I understand that. And I'm so grateful for her being in my life and her sharing her wisdom, knowledge, and education on how to get us out and feeling better every day through what we eat and how all of that, the habits that we developed as a child, we have to change them as adults so that we can
Mhm.
feel better. So thank you again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to all of what we have going on here right here every day throughout the week on Megasource Entertainment. Monday nights is DJ Red, Tuesdays and Thursdays it's Dave Curtis, and then we have Rich Live on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. On the Ground with Danielle Brown Wednesday evenings. We thank her for coming on board. Then right back on Saturday evenings, it's Rich Live, great music, and from the old school to the new school, every school in between. And so just so grateful for everybody just joining us every night. This is the place to be throughout your week. Make time to be here on Mega Source Entertainment right here Sunday evenings. Meet me again next week as we join and talk about. I have a great topic I'm looking forward to talking about, and that's 9 things I would tell little Aisha. And so there's some things that I would say to myself as a little girl, and to prepare me for the road ahead. And so sometimes we need to talk to ourselves to fix her, the little girl inside, as an adult, and get it right. So thank you so much once again for joining me right here on the Aisha I Am Woman show, where needed conversations happen. And again, I'm your host, Aisha, and we will meet you here once again next week, Sunday. God bless you guys, and good night.